Yo, what's going on, guys? What a freaking card! First of all, before we get into it, I gotta talk about this main event. That main event was more than I could have expected. It was so much fun. Towards the end, it was a beatdown because Kevin broke his hand. But while he had his hand, my God, was it fun! It was so much fun, and it played out exactly how I thought it was going to. I talked about it when I broke the fight down, that in order for Wonderboy to win, he has to keep the distance, and for Howland to win, he has to make it a dogfight. He has to hit Wonderboy as he comes in, as he blitzes, and we've seen that in the first round. He caught Wonderboy flush, hurt him, and honestly, I was surprised to see Wonderboy take the shots that he did and still keep going. Man, can we talk about how amazing it is that Wonderboy is so nice and all this stuff, but him as a fighter in a stand up fight, we can say all we want about his ground game and all that stuff. He is a kickboxer. He is a striker. That's what he is. That's what he's good at. And the time and time and time again, we see it. Look at the performance he just did. And all the haters out there that know about Kevin Holland's done up to this, Kevin Holland's stock does not drop. He could have multiple chances to get out of there. He had when the low blow or whatever happened, he could have taken all that time. He never quit. He quit in between the fourth and the fifth round, but his hand was broken. There's no need to continue. There's just none. He showed how tough he is. Wonderboy beat him up, and he was ahead of him the entire time. And as soon as he broke Kevin Holland, because he broke him, he took over. And God dang it, again, it's so much fun to watch him in a striking fight. People are going to be upset that Kevin, didn't use his ground game. That's not what they talked about. And they stayed true to that. Again, it was so much fun. We're not going to have much more of Wonderboy, so we got to cherish these moments, because that main event he just put on, especially getting hurt like he did, especially like that. He got hurt. Took some elbows against the cage. Kevin hits really hard. People don't understand that. He hits hard. But goddamn did Wonderboy look good. And I'm so thankful he did. I'm so thankful. And guess what? Kevin Holland's still a beast. This takes nothing away from Kevin Holland. Nothing. So I don't want to hear it in my comment section that Kevin's done all this. He's 30 years old. Wonderboy's 39. Kevin is not a good typical kickboxer. He is not a typical good, 1-2 fighter. He's good in chaotic situations. He's good in scrambles. He's good at being funky with his striking. That's what made this fight interesting. And when he couldn't be funky anymore for hurting his hand from blocking the kicks, all that stuff, he got beat up. I mean, that's what it is. But again, let's talk about this card. Sorry for the long-winded intro. First, we started with Yasmin Jauregui, something like that, against Istela Nunes. Nunes hurt Yasmin early in that fight, and it really shocked me that Yasmin was so pressure-heavy early, because if you watch Nunes fight, that's the issue, is that first round. That is when she's at her best. And then it got later, second round, and Yasmin started to figure it out and got her out of there. It was a nasty finish for Yasmin, seriously. And then Francis Marshall Rejo, I think it's Rajo, whatever it is. Francis Marshall got hit a little bit, looked a little bit antsy in that first round. That second round, he looked good. Is there room for improvement? Of course, there's always going to be. Francis Marshall looked really good. UFC, please don't rush him. Please don't rush him. And then Natan Levy, Genaro Valdez. Natan Levy, his stand-up looked a lot better. I talked about that. We had seen a little bit of his stand-up, but he's weird with his stand-up. Really good on the ground. Didn't really use his ground. And the heart of Valdez kind of stole this fight, because he took some punishment, especially in the first round. I know he got dropped another time, but especially that first round, the heart of that guy is crazy. And pushing on like he did throughout that 15 minutes unbelievable. I hope the UFC doesn't cut him. I want to see him at least get another, one more chance at least. But Natan Levy looked really, really good, especially on the feet, which I was very surprised about. And then Jonathan Pierce versus Darren Elkins, it played out really how I thought it was going to. I thought the striking would be a big, big issue for Darren Elkins because Jonathan Pierce does have some pop on his striking. Darren Elkins, of course, as always, a true warrior in MMA. I imagine he's probably going to retire. Maybe he'll have one more, but that might be it for Darren Elkins. Jonathan Pierce looked really, really good. Michael Johnson versus Mark DeCasey. Honestly, I was surprised Mark DeCasey didn't really go for takedowns. He did towards the end of the fight, but even early, I was surprised he didn't try mixing that stuff in because that's what he's been doing lately, and I felt like that could have benefited him early instead of shooting later. I know there was a couple of times early that Michael Johnson just stuffed it or whatever, but I just didn't think he put that pressure on Johnson enough. And then he let Johnson get too comfortable. And I'm sorry, but once you let Johnson get comfortable, he's as good on the feet as anybody. He's really, really good on the feet. I mean, look at his wins. Look what he's fought. It's crazy. I know his record isn't great, but look at everybody he's fought. And he has some wins in there that are very, very impressive. Michael Johnson at 36 years old. He needs to put some wins together, but he has some fun fights if he can get those wins together. And then you got Clay Guida versus Scott Holtzman. I don't know who gave any second round or whatever, 2 rounds to Scott Holtzman. I thought Scott Holtzman won the second round, but I thought that the first and the second were clear for Guida. Guida looked good. His chin held up. I was surprised. I thought Holtzman's power would be more of an issue. And there was some chances against the fence that he started to take advantage of later, but Clay Guida again looked good, and I'm really surprised that he was able to out-hustle Holtzman. And great win for Guida. He's still going at it. And then Angela Hill versus Emily Ducoto. Angela Hill looked incredible. I mean, this is a huge win for her because she really beat up Emily. That I was surprised. I was surprised early when Emily, she wasn't going first, because another person like Michael Johnson is if you let them get comfortable and you don't confuse them or make it a weird fight, if you don't go first and again make them uncomfortable, you're gonna have a hard night. And that's what Angela Hill did. She wasn't able to get her out of there, but she beat her up, and it was very, very impressive. And then Nico Price versus Phil Rowe. Holy crap. Nico Price looked like I thought he was going to look. Overwhelmed Philip Rowe because his corner was right. Anytime Nico Price was throwing at Phil Rowe, he wasn't returning. If Rowe was able to go first, then he would have success. But anytime Nico was first, there wasn't really much in return for Rowe. From Rowe. So what did Nico do in that third round? Just started going, go, and hurt Phil Rowe. He hurt him. He almost had him out of there, and then Nico was dead tired because he unloaded 50 punches probably, and couldn't get him out of there. And then Rowe with the long reach with that power, like I was talking about, was able to get Nico Price out of there. And Nico's fell victim to that quite a bit. And I really thought this was the fight that Nico Price needed, because I believe he was 11-0 at one point, maybe 10-0. I think he was 11-0 at one point, and he's 15-6 now. Let me see. He was 10-0, and then he lost to Vicente. Then he was 11-1, and he's kind of been win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, lose. So. Yeah, and then Eric Anders destroyed Kyle Daukaus. Big win for Eric Anders. Look at that. He let loose of his left hand, which has super power, and he kind of got away from that. And then Roman Dolidze, Jack Hermansson fought like he did against Chris Curtis, something I talked about when I broke the fight down. I was curious if Hermansson was going to continue with that. I was curious and see if he was going to continue with the movement, and if he did, he'd give Roman Dolidze some problems, and he did. He was able to get the takedown, and then Roman, being crafty and weird on the ground like he was able to get that calf slicer, I believe it's called, and reverse him. And That image of Roman Dolidze calf slicing Hermanson, flattening him out, and just beating the crap out of him from the back, unbelievable. He is a problem, I'm telling you. And this is a big loss for Jack Hermanson, because this has happened, a couple of times in his career where he takes that step up and then he loses. He beats a couple people and he takes that step up and he loses. Big loss. And then to exactly what I was talking about. Sergey Povlich versus Tai Tuivasa, exactly what I was talking about. 54 seconds in, Tai gets knocked down with a jab. I understand Sergey is very powerful, not the point. Because yes, we know he's powerful. Tai, he got knocked down from a jab. I know it was a barrage of punches, all these things, but it was still a jab what inevitably knocked him down. And then Sergey's big power was able to finish Tai. Exactly what I talked about. Now Tai has 2 knockout losses back to back. Stop. Oh my God, stop. And then Matheus Nicolai versus Matt Schnell. Schnell putting the pressure on Matthias, and it played out like I thought it was going to. I thought Nicolai was going to be able to pick his shots and land some good punches and get Matt Schnell, hurt him, because Matt gets hurt a lot in his fights, and we really haven't seen him come back except for his last fight. And he hurt him a couple times. Give credit to Schnell, he got right back up, but the problem was every time he got up, he kept beelining for him. He wasn't really cutting it off, cutting angles, anything like that. He was kind of just going at him. And that left hand was open the entire time. Crowd was booing, but Matthias was picking Matt Schnell apart. No reason to put yourself in weird positions. Great win from Matheus Nicolai. And then Rafael Dos Anjos versus Bryan Barberena. Great win for Rafael Dos Anjos. I thought Barberena only chance was to keep the fight standing up, make it a little bit of a weird one, but it's hard to do with RDA because we know he's not really going to get tired unless you hurt him and you're able to get him out of there with a big shot, which that's not where Bryan Barberena's good. He's not good with, one punch power. It's not like that. So RDA took Bryan Barberena down. It was threatening with some arm triangle chokes, and then inevitably got his back and finished him with the rear naked choke. It was basically like a face crank or neck crank. So big win for RDA, or a good win for RDA. Not really big, but I don't think the stock drops for Bryan Barberena. Kind of a bad matchup, to be honest, but great to see RDA still win. And like I talked about, Wonder Boy finishing Kevin Holland. Awesome freaking fight. Maybe best of the year. But as always, guys, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button as hard as you can. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought about this card. You guys know what it is. Peace.